There's a myth that's been fed to you since boyhood, a myth that leaves countless men frustrated, restless, and staring at cold ceilings. The lie? That female desire is a switch, that if you just learn the right touch, the perfect words, the exact sequence, she will turn on. You've been treating a nuclear reactor like a flashlight. You push, you prod, you try to light a fire that refuses to burn. More charm, more muscles, more gifts, more persistence, and yet nothing moves. You're stepping on the gas while the brakes are jammed. You're pouring fuel into a car with flat tires, wondering why it won't drive. Here's the truth. Desire is not about pressing harder. It's about removing what's holding her back. The dual control of desire. There's a mechanism inside her mind that no amount of charm, effort, or technique can override. Female desire is not a switch. It is a machine governed by two opposing systems, one that drives, one that restrains. The first system is the accelerator. It hunts for pleasure, intimacy, warmth, connection, and excitement. It is the part of her brain that wants to say yes, that seeks novelty, thrill, and the spark that makes her feel alive. The second system is the brake. It constantly scans for risk, stress, discomfort, danger, or even minor irritations. This is evolution's safeguard, designed to prevent her from making choices that could cost her safety, energy, or social standing. Most men spend their lives trying to press the gas pedal. They kiss, they touch, they compliment, they flirt, thinking more stimulation equals more desire. But if the brake is engaged, nothing happens. They fail to recognize that desire isn't about turning her on, it's about removing the barriers that are holding her back. Stress from work, arguments earlier in the day, a messy room, worry over unpaid bills, all of these activate the brake. Push too hard while the brake is engaged, and she doesn't feel aroused. She feels pressured, harassed, or even repelled. Men naturally assume her biology works like theirs. They think desire hits spontaneously, like a spark. But for most women, desire is responsive, not instantaneous. It doesn't come first. It emerges after the environment is safe, the stress is removed, and the conditions are right. The outlier understands this. He does not try to force the flame, he removes the wedge blocking it. He identifies what is holding her back and dismantles it. He doesn't wait for her to initiate or signal readiness. He creates the conditions in which desire can naturally flourish. This dual control system is central to every interaction. The accelerator responds to warmth, attention, attraction, and controlled tension. The brake responds to stress, pressure, unpredictability, or even minor discomforts. If you focus on the gas without clearing the brakes, you generate friction, tension, and frustration. The car never moves, the engine never ignites, and desire never appears. The master strategist shifts focus entirely. He stops asking, "How do I turn her on?" and starts asking, "What is currently turning her off?" He sees that desire is subtractive. It is not what you add, but what you remove. He becomes an architect of removal, clearing the path for natural response. He does not beg, persuade, or chase. He eliminates stress, confusion, and threat, giving her mind and body the freedom to respond. He knows the brake will always be stronger than the accelerator. The goal is not to override it, it is to quiet it, to give the accelerator space to work. Once you understand this, every approach, every conversation, every touch changes meaning. You stop pressing blindly, you stop hoping she'll react to your efforts. Instead, you observe, you analyze, you act with precision. You become the man who creates conditions rather than forcing outcomes. You understand that sex, desire, and attraction are not transactions, they are biological processes. And when you stop fighting her biology and start working with it, you stop wasting energy and start creating authentic, irresistible desire. Desire is not a result of persistence, effort, or skill. It is the outcome of removing barriers, managing context, and understanding the dual control system that governs her nervous system. The accelerator can only work when the brakes are released. The woman you have been trying to reach is not missing, not cold, not indifferent. She has been locked behind her inhibitory system, waiting for the right key, the man who understands how to remove the obstacles and orchestrate the conditions for desire to emerge naturally. Responsive versus spontaneous desire. Most men make the same fatal assumption. They believe desire is instantaneous, a sudden strike of lightning that ignites the moment she looks at you. You see a curve, a glance, a fleeting smile, and your body reacts immediately. You assume hers will do the same. But this is where the biological gap betrays men. For most women, desire is responsive, not spontaneous. It doesn't arrive on its own. It emerges in response to the environment, the context, and the signals you provide. Men are wired to see desire as a spark. Women are wired to see it as a gradual build. It is a simmer, not a flame. It is a pot of water on a stove. You cannot wait for the water to boil before adding the pasta. You must turn on the heat first. Yet most men wait for the green light. They wait for her body to signal readiness, for her eyes to flash a secret invitation, for some sign that she is already in the mood. They wait, they hope, and they die waiting. The outlier operates differently. He understands that her "not now" is rarely rejection. It is a neutral state, dormancy, waiting for the right conditions to emerge. He becomes the heat source, the environmental architect, the man who ignites desire without forcing it. He creates the context in which her responsive system can activate naturally. He doesn't push, prod, or plead. He manipulates nothing but the environment, orchestrates nothing but the conditions, and lets biology do the rest. This requires a fundamental shift in mindset. You stop treating desire as a switch you can flip. You stop assuming that more stimulation equals more attraction. Instead, you focus on what's missing, what needs to change, what barriers exist between her and the experience she can respond to. Stress, distraction, mental load, unfinished tasks, minor discomforts, all of these are brakes. Remove them, and the spark emerges on its own. Apply force without releasing these brakes, and she feels pressure, frustration, even revulsion. The responsive model explains why patience is more powerful than intensity. Women rarely initiate in the same way men do. She doesn't leap forward at the first spark. Her body responds once the mind is prepared. Her mind imagines, anticipates, and simmers, creating fertile ground for arousal. The man who understands this stops waiting for the sign. He becomes the context creator, providing security, attention, subtle tension, mystery, and selective challenge. He does not push the gas while the brake is engaged. He removes the brake first, allowing desire to build naturally, organically. In other words, you are not here to manufacture attraction. You are here to engineer the conditions for it. You do not chase, beg, or plead. You observe, identify obstacles, clear them, and allow her responsive system to activate. You become the catalyst without being the coercer. You become the heat, the environment, the tension, and the release all at once. Once you understand responsive desire, everything changes. You stop asking, "Why isn't she into me?" and start asking, "What is holding her back?" You stop confusing resistance with rejection. You stop projecting your biology onto hers. You see the difference between dormant desire and genuine disinterest. And most importantly, you stop wasting energy trying to force something that emerges naturally when the conditions are right. Responsive desire is subtle, patient, and often invisible until the moment it ignites. The outlier does not rush it. He does not force it. He does not plead for it. He creates the environment, sets the stage, and allows her biology to respond. And when it does, it is unstoppable. It is undeniable. It is the kind of desire that cannot be manufactured. It can only be unlocked. Context is everything. Desire does not exist in a vacuum. It does not live solely in the body. It is not just attraction or touch. For women, context is everything. Same man, same hands, same face, same words, yet two completely different outcomes. In one context, your touch irritates, your presence annoys, your voice bores. In another, the same actions electrify, excite, and ignite passion. This is the power of environmental psychology. This is why the car metaphor matters. The engine is capable, but the road, the tires, the terrain all determine whether it moves or stalls. Context. A. You are scattered, anxious, needy, hovering for approval. The room is cluttered, your energy restless, your attention desperate. You kiss her shoulder, and it feels like a mosquito bite. You try to engage, and her brake system slams. She does not feel aroused. She feels pressured, she feels drained, she feels friction, not desire. You are pressing the accelerator while the brake is locked, and all your energy produces nothing but resistance. Context B. You are grounded, decisive, calm. You handle stress without flinching. You look at her with intent but not desperation. The chaos around you does not penetrate your frame. You kiss her shoulder, and it feels like fire. You engage, and her body hums, her mind lights up, her responsive desire simmers. The same man, same environment, same interaction, but the result is entirely different. Desire is contextual, not transactional. You cannot separate her arousal from the situation, the environment, or the energy you bring into it. This is why vacation sex is legendary. It's not about the sheets, the bed, or the hotel room. It's about stress removed. The monitor in her mind, the constant evaluator of tasks, obligations, safety, social hierarchy, shuts down. The brakes are released. The accelerator runs freely. In daily life, you must learn to replicate this effect. You must become the man who assassinates the monitor, who creates high-definition safety, yet keeps the energy charged. Safety alone is not enough. Predictability and softness will never excite. Too safe, and you become her brother, her teddy bear. Desire requires tension, contrast, and challenge. The paradox is simple but brutal. She needs security to feel willing, yet she needs simulated danger to feel alive. Not physical danger, not abuse, but tension, unpredictability, authority, and controlled threat. Mystery, challenge, the thrill of the unknown contained within a secure framework. The outlier understands this. He is the architect of both safety and excitement. He is grounded and calm, the solid floor she can trust. But he also generates a storm of tension, challenge, and desire that makes her feel alive. He controls the environment so her brakes are minimized while her accelerator engages naturally. He orchestrates the conditions in which desire becomes inevitable. He does not push, he does not beg, he does not plead. He creates the stage and lets biology run its course. Context is not about manipulation, it is about mastery of environment and presence. It is about understanding that every action, every word, every glance carries weight. Desire is never about technique alone, it is about who she perceives you to be in that moment, in that space, under those conditions. The same man can be a ghost in one setting and a god in another. The difference is context, energy, and the orchestration of environment. When you grasp this, interactions change. You stop pushing, you stop trying to manufacture reactions. You focus on shaping the environment, controlling stresses, and holding presence. You create a context where desire is not forced. It is natural, responsive, and unstoppable. You understand that the mind and body respond not just to touch, but to the energy, safety, tension, and mystery that surrounds it. And when you get this right, the results are terrifyingly effective. The woman who seemed indifferent, distant, or resistant suddenly becomes alive, curious, and eager, drawn to you not just by instinct, but by the environment you engineered. Safety versus excitation, the paradox. Here is the central paradox of female desire. She needs both safety and threat. Not in the way men imagine. This is not about physical danger, force, or abuse. This is psychological. She needs a sanctuary where she can feel secure, yet within that sanctuary, she needs the spark of unpredictability, tension, and controlled threat. Remove the danger entirely, and she becomes bored, unexcited, indifferent. Push too hard, too chaotic, and she retreats, brakes slam down, desire vanishing. Most men fail at this instinctively. The nice guys provide security, predictability, consistency, and comfort, but nothing that activates the spark. They are the solid, reliable teddy bear she trusts, but she will never crave. No friction, no tension, no thrill. On the other extreme, the reckless men create chaos, unpredictability, and high energy, but their instability triggers the brake. She feels excitement, yes, but also danger, risk, and fear. The car moves, but it smokes, wobbles, and eventually crashes. The outlier is neither extreme. He becomes the architect of contrast, the master of paradox. He is the safe floor beneath her, the anchor in chaos. Yet he introduces stimulated tension, subtle mystery, selective challenge, authority, and dominance. The thrill is contained within the boundaries of safety. She knows the strap is secure, but the fall feels real. She knows she is protected, but the storm is inevitable. This controlled paradox is the engine of desire. Safety comes first, but alone it is not enough. She must trust you, believe in your calm, grounded presence, and feel the environment stable. Excitation comes second, but alone it is dangerous. She must feel the spark, the unpredictability, the thrill of being pursued or teased, the mental game, the subtle dominance that excites without harming. Together, safety and excitation form the perfect feedback loop. Remove the brakes, engage the accelerator, and desire emerges naturally. How does the outlier achieve this? Through presence, control, and selective behavior. Dominance is critical, not aggressive, not coercive, but decisive. You do not ask, "What should we do?" You state, "Wear the black dress. We leave at 7." You remove the burden of choice while asserting authority. This is safety within structure and threat within control. Mystery is another tool. You do not reveal everything. You keep a part of your mind private, creating curiosity and tension. Excitation thrives on the unknown, while safety ensures it is safe to explore. Even subtle gestures matter. Eye contact must convey intent without desperation. A gaze can be protective and predatory at the same time. Your presence must signal that you are capable of danger, but only if you choose to restrain it. Discipline within threat is intoxicating. The woman craves the man who could destroy her world in an instant, but chooses to protect her. That paradox is a primal aphrodisiac. Most men misread this completely. They either provide only safety and fail to excite, or they provide only thrill and trigger the brakes. The outlier masters the paradox. He creates a container where she feels secure enough to let go and uncertain enough to desire release. He becomes the source of controlled tension. He introduces challenge without chaos, excitement without fear, and desire without pressure. This is the key to turning responsive desire into obsession. She does not just react to you, she reacts to the world you construct around her, the energy you maintain, and the paradox you embody. Safety without thrill creates boredom. Thrill without safety creates fear. Balance both, and desire becomes unstoppable, consuming, and irresistible. Concordance and the mind-body gap. Men are simple creatures in comparison. For a man, mind and body are almost always aligned. When he is turned on, the body follows. Erection, pulse, urgency. The engine revs, the car moves. Desire is visible, measurable, undeniable. Concordance is high. The mental and physical systems are synchronized, straightforward, reliable. Women are entirely different. Concordance is low. The signals of desire are often misaligned between mind and body. Her body may respond physiologically, lubrication, increased blood flow, warmth, but her mind may feel nothing, detached, or even repelled. Conversely, her mind may be racing, fantasizing, imagining, and ready, while her body appears calm, distant, or cold. You cannot rely on one to predict the other. Physical signs are not proof of attraction. Biological responses can mislead. Assumptions are dangerous. This gap is why most men fail. They see wetness, they see movement, they interpret it as consent or desire. They assume because the plumbing works, the mind agrees. This is the fastest way to trigger the brake system. Desire lives in the mind first, in her imagination, her curiosity, her sense of being seen and wanted. If her mind is not engaged, physical arousal alone will never create genuine desire. You might get the body, but you will never penetrate the mind. She becomes a shell, a body without the fire that fuels true attraction. The outlier understands this distinction. He does not chase bodily responses. He does not confuse reflexes with interest. He observes, interprets, and aligns his approach to the psychological state first. If her mind is ready, but her body lags, he practices physical patience. He does not rush. He allows her body to follow her mind, creating anticipation, excitement, and connection. He understands that desire is cultivated, not forced. Conversely, if her body responds but her mind remains distant, he engages the mental dimension. He stops treating touch as the path to desire and begins speaking to the mind, planting mental seeds. He whispers, tells stories, creates fantasies, paints images in her imagination that the body cannot resist. The female sex organ, he knows, is not between the legs, it is between the ears. Unlock her mind and her body follows naturally. Neglect the mind and the body alone is meaningless. This is where the true skill lies. Bridging the mind-body gap. It requires observation, restraint, and an understanding of timing. It requires the ability to read the state of her inhibition and excitation systems to identify what is holding her back and what sparks her interest, and to respond with precision. You must become both patient and creative. You cannot push, you cannot demand, you cannot force. You orchestrate, you design, you become the conductor of the symphony of her desire. The lesson is clear. Do not assume her body tells the whole story. Do not project your biology onto hers. Desire is complex, multi-layered, responsive, and often invisible. Misreading it triggers resistance. Respect it. Work with it. Become the man who can synchronize the mind and body without ever forcing it. Create the conditions, clear the obstacles, engage the imagination, and watch the fire ignite naturally. The difference between failure and mastery is understanding concordance. Men who fail see only the physical. They push, pressure, misread, and crash. The outlier sees the mind first. He respects the gaps. He navigates the complexity with precision. He waits, he simmers, he orchestrates, and when he acts, desire is no longer optional. It is inevitable. The simmer method. Most men try to boil desire instantly. 0 to 100, push, kiss, grab, demand. It never works. Desire is a simmer, not a flame. The outlier understands this. He creates tension, anticipation, and mystery over hours, sometimes days. Step 1. Remove stress. Clear her mental load without expecting reward. Step 2. Ambiguous touch, non-sexual, purposeful, teasing. Spark desire without triggering pressure. Step 3. Verbal seed. Plant thoughts, stories, hints. Let her imagination do the work. Step 4. False start. Initiate, then pause. Let her respond, chase, and choose. The simmer is subtle power. She moves from neutral to obsession because you never forced it. You orchestrated the conditions, and desire ignites naturally, uncontrollably. The power of being desired. Desire is not about what she does, it's about how you make her feel. For many women, being looked at, wanted, and prioritized sparks deeper arousal than touch alone. It is a primal affirmation. She becomes the object of obsession, not because she is vain, but because her biology craves recognition from a man of value. The outlier knows this. He does not chase, beg, or plead. He holds his frame, remains selective, and projects focus onto her as if she is the only one that matters. Desire ignites when she sees herself through your eyes, not passive admiration, but intense, consuming attention. The man who is desired becomes the accelerator and architect of her longing. The outlier mindset. Why do nice guys finish last? They remove brakes, but never light the fire. Why do jerks sometimes win? They ignite the fire, but destroy the car. The outlier, he balances both. He is a sanctuary and a storm. He clears the brakes and applies just enough pressure to ignite desire. He is calm, selective, grounded, but capable of unleashing chaos responsibly. You are not here to force desire. You are here to unlock it. If you're ready to leave behind the nice guy and the reckless jerk, if you're ready to master the architecture of desire, if you're ready to clear the brakes, light the fire, and watch her come alive, comment below. Unlock the break. Not a sentence, not a phrase, 3 words. a signal that you understand. The most powerful move is not pushing harder, but removing what's holding her back. I'll see you in the shadows.